Hello and welcome to a very special comprehensive edition of English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so happy to have you here with me today. Whether you are listening on your morning commute, while you are washing the dishes, or perhaps taking a quiet moment for yourself with a cup of coffee, I am thrilled that you have chosen to spend this time improving your English. Today we are going to talk about something that changes lives. It is not just about grammar rules or memorizing long lists of vocabulary words. Today we are going to talk about the power of daily habits and how you can build a routine that makes English fluency inevitable. We often think that to learn a language, we need massive amounts of motivation, or that we need to study for 3 hours every single day. But the truth is actually much simpler and much more powerful. The truth is that small actions repeated every single day are far more effective than one big study session once a week. We are going to explore how to integrate English into your real life so that you do not even feel like you are studying. We will look at practical examples, and I will guide you through some exercises that you can start doing right now. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let us dive deeply into the world of daily English habits. Let us start by discussing the difference between motivation and habit because this distinction is crucial for your success. Motivation is a feeling. It is that excitement you feel when you first buy a new textbook or when you first decide you want to speak English fluently. Motivation is wonderful, but it is also unreliable. Some days you wake up and you feel tired or you feel stressed or you just do not feel like studying. If you only rely on motivation, you will quit when things get difficult. Habit, on the other hand, is automatic. It is something you do without thinking, like brushing your teeth or making your morning coffee. You do not need motivation to brush your teeth. You just do it because it is part of who you are. Our goal today is to turn your English practice into something as automatic as brushing your teeth. We want to move from trying to find time for English to making English a natural part of your day. One of the best ways to do this is a technique called habit stacking. This is a concept I love, and it is perfect for language learners. Habit stacking means you take a habit you already have and you stack a new habit on top of it. Think about your morning routine. Maybe every morning you sit down at the kitchen table and drink a cup of tea. That is an existing habit. Now let us stack an English habit on top of it. You can say to yourself, after I pour my cup of tea, I will read 1 page of an English book. Or perhaps while I am drinking my tea, I will listen to 5 minutes of an English podcast just like this one. You are connecting the new difficult task to the old easy task. This works because your brain already has a strong neural pathway for the old habit, so you are just adding a little extra step. Let us try to practice this right now mentally. I want you to think of one thing you do every single day without fail. Maybe it is waiting for the bus, or maybe it is walking your dog. Now think of one small English activity you can do at that same time. If you are walking the dog, could you describe what you see around you in English? You could say to yourself, the sky is very blue today, or look at that tall tree. By doing this, you are transforming a mundane daily task into a rich learning opportunity. Now, I want to talk about the language of habits because to build them, we need to know how to talk about them. You might hear native speakers use phrases like stick to it or give up. These are phrasal verbs that are very common when discussing routines. To stick to something means to continue doing it even when it is difficult. If you decide to wake up at 6 in the morning to study English and you actually do it every day for a month, you are sticking to your routine. On the other hand, to give up means to quit or to stop trying. We want to stick to our habits, and we do not want to give up. Another great phrase is to get into the swing of things. This means that you are becoming familiar with a new routine, and it is starting to feel easy and natural. When you first start learning English, it feels hard, but after a few weeks, you get into the swing of things, and it becomes enjoyable. I want you to imagine yourself getting into the swing of things with your English practice. Imagine waking up and naturally thinking in English. It is entirely possible if you stick to it. Let us move on to a practical technique for improving your speaking fluency called narrating your day. This is something you can do entirely in your head, so you do not have to worry about people looking at you strangely. The idea is to become the narrator of your own life movie. As you go about your day, simply describe what you are doing in English. For example, if you are cooking dinner, do not just cook. Think to yourself, I am chopping the onions now. I am heating up the oil in the pan. I am adding a pinch of salt. This sounds simple, but it forces your brain to recall vocabulary in real time, which is exactly what you need for fluency. If you do not know the word for a specific object like a spatula or a colander, do not worry. Just note it down mentally and look it up later. This bridges the gap between passive knowledge, where you understand words when you hear them, and active knowledge where you can actually use the words yourself. It turns your kitchen or your living room into a classroom. Another powerful habit is the art of shadowing. Shadowing is a listening and speaking exercise where you listen to a native speaker and repeat exactly what they say at the same time, or just a split second later. You are acting like a shadow following the speaker's voice. You can do this with my voice right now. Try to match my speed, my intonation, and my rhythm. If I pause, you pause. If my voice goes up at the end of a question, make your voice go up too. This helps with pronunciation because you are training your mouth muscles to move in the English way. English has a specific rhythm or music to it. It is stress-timed, which means some syllables are longer and louder, while others are short and quiet. By shadowing, you stop thinking about individual words, and you start feeling the flow of the sentences. You can do this for just 2 minutes a day. Pick a small section of this podcast, rewind it, and try to speak along with me. It feels a bit funny at first, but it is one of the most effective ways to reduce your accent and sound more natural. Now let us discuss the environment. Your environment plays a huge role in your habits. If you want to eat healthier, you put fresh fruit on the table where you can see it. If you want to improve your English, you need to create an English environment. This does not mean you have to move to an English-speaking country. It means changing your digital environment. Change the language settings on your phone to English. It is a small change, but every time you look at your phone, you will see words like settings, messages, and notifications in English. It forces your brain to process the language constantly. You can also follow social media accounts that post in English. If you love cooking, follow English-speaking chefs. If you love football, follow English sports commentators. When you open your social media feed, instead of just seeing content in your native language, you will be immersed in English. This is called immersion, and it is how babies learn languages. They are surrounded by it. You can recreate this for yourself. The goal is to make avoiding English harder than using it. I also want to touch on the concept of the 2-minute rule. This is a famous productivity strategy that says if a new habit takes less than 2 minutes to do it right now. For English learners, this is revolutionary. Sometimes the idea of studying for an hour is overwhelming, so we do nothing. But anyone can do 2 minutes. Can you listen to English for 2 minutes? Yes, of course. Can you read one paragraph of a news article? Yes. The most difficult part of any habit is just starting. Once you start, it is usually easy to keep going. So tell yourself, I will just study for 2 minutes. Usually once you open the book or start the podcast, you will find that you actually want to continue for 10 or 20 minutes. But the goal was only 2. This lowers the pressure and makes it easier to show up every day. Remember, consistency is key. It is better to study for 10 minutes every day than for 2 hours once a week. The brain learns by repetition and frequency, not by intensity alone. Let us talk about mistakes. Many learners are afraid of making mistakes, so they stay silent. They wait until they think their sentence is perfect before they speak. But this is a bad habit. We need to build the habit of being imperfect. Fluency is not about being perfect, it is about communicating. When you speak, you will make grammar errors and you will pronounce words wrong, and that is completely okay. In fact, it is necessary. Every mistake is a stepping stone to success. If you never make a mistake, you are not learning. I want you to adopt a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says, I am bad at English and I will never get better. A growth mindset says, I cannot do this yet, but with practice, I will improve. Change your internal dialogue. Instead of saying, I made a mistake, say, I learned something new today. Be kind to yourself. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time and patience. Let us integrate some vocabulary about time management, since that is crucial for maintaining habits. You might want to block out time in your schedule. To block out time means to reserve a specific period for a specific activity. You could say, I am going to block out 20 minutes before bed for reading. Another good phrase is to catch up. If you miss a day of practice, do not worry. You can catch up later, but be careful not to fall behind. To fall behind means you are not making progress at the speed you expected. If you do fall behind, just restart. Do not beat yourself up. Just start again today. Today is always the best day to start. I would like to give you a specific challenge for this week. I call it the audio journal. At the end of every day before you go to sleep, I want you to take out your phone and open the voice recorder app. Record yourself speaking in English for just 1 minute about your day. You can say what you did, who you met, what you ate, and how you felt. No one else has to hear this. It is just for you. After you record it, listen to it. You might notice some mistakes, and that is good. You will also notice that you are actually speaking English. If you do this every day for a week, you will have 7 recordings. If you do it for a month, you will have 30. You will be able to listen back to the first recording and compare it to the last one, and you will hear the improvement. This provides proof of your progress, which is a huge motivator. It also helps you get used to the sound of your own voice in English, which can build confidence. Having established these foundations, let us now zoom in on the specific details of your daily life. Let us start with the very first thing you do in the morning. Your alarm goes off. What is the first thought in your head? Usually it is in your native language. You might think, oh no, is it morning already? Or maybe I need 5 more minutes. I want to challenge you to change this first thought of the day into English. It is a tiny habit, but it sets the tone for the rest of the day. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, I want you to actively think simple English phrases. You can say to yourself, I am waking up now. I am stretching my arms. I am getting out of bed. It sounds funny, but you are priming your brain. You are telling your brain that English is awake too. Let us practice some vocabulary for this time of day. When you hit the button on your alarm to stop it for a few minutes, that is called hitting the snooze button. You might say, I hit the snooze button 3 times this morning because I was so tired. Or maybe you are an early bird. An early bird is someone who loves waking up early. Are you an early bird, or are you a night owl, someone who loves staying up late? Think about that for a second and answer me in your head. I am definitely an early bird. I love the quiet of the morning. Now imagine you are moving to the kitchen. This is a goldmine for vocabulary. Do not just make coffee make English part of the process. As you boil the water, say to yourself, the water is boiling. As you pour it into the cup, say, I am pouring the hot water. Smell the coffee and think that smells delicious. We often do these things on autopilot, which means we do them without thinking. But I want you to switch off the autopilot and switch on your awareness. Let us talk about breakfast. Maybe you are having toast. You put the bread in the toaster. You wait for it to pop up. You spread butter or jam on it. Use these verbs: to pop up, to spread, to slice. If you are having eggs, are they scrambled eggs or fried eggs or boiled eggs? If you do not know the difference, look it up right now or later. This specific vocabulary is practical. You will use it when you travel or when you have breakfast with an English-speaking friend. By practicing it every morning alone, you will be ready when you need to use it with others. Let us move on to your commute. Whether you drive, take the bus, or walk, getting to work or school is a routine we all have. This is often dead time, where we just stare out the window or scroll through social media. Let us turn this dead time into a live time. If you are driving, narrate the traffic. You can say the traffic is heavy today, or there is a traffic jam. You can describe the other cars. That is a red truck. That car is driving too fast. If you are on the bus, look at the people around you. Do not stare at them. Of course, that would be rude, but observe them discreetly. Describe them in your head. That man is wearing a blue suit and he looks tired. That woman is reading a book. What book is she reading? Make up stories about them. Maybe he is a spy. Maybe she is going to meet the love of her life. This is a creative exercise that forces you to use adjectives and verbs of movement. It keeps your brain active and entertained. When you arrive at work or school, you enter a social environment. This is where small talk becomes very important. Small talk is the polite conversation we have about unimportant things like the weather or the weekend. Many learners hate small talk because they think it is shallow, but it is actually the glue that holds society together. It is how we build connections. A great habit is to prepare 3 small talk questions before you enter the building. You can ask a colleague, how was your commute this morning? Or did you do anything fun last night? Or simply, is it not cold today? Having these questions ready reduces your anxiety. You do not have to think on the spot. You are prepared. And when they answer, listen. Really listen. Do not just wait for your turn to speak. If they say they went to the cinema, ask them what movie they saw. This is called a follow-up question. Follow-up questions show that you are interested and they keep the conversation flowing naturally. Let us shift gears and talk about the internal monologue. We all have a voice inside our heads that talks to us all day long. Usually it speaks our native language. One of the most advanced habits you can build is to switch that voice to English. This is hard at first. You might only be able to do it for 10 seconds. That is okay. Start with 10 seconds. When you are feeling frustrated, try to express that frustration in English in your mind. Say, "I am so annoyed right now because I cannot find my keys." When you are happy, say, "I am feeling great because the sun is shining." This connects your emotions directly to English. It stops you from translating. When you translate, you think in your language and then convert it. That is slow. When you think in English, you are speaking directly from thought to word. That is fluency. Try to catch yourself during the day. Stop and ask, what language am I thinking in right now? If it is not English, try to switch it just for a moment. Now I want to talk about the power of reading, but not just any reading. I want to talk about extensive reading. Intensive reading is what you do in school where you read a short text and analyze every single word and grammar point. That is useful, but it is not enough. Extensive reading is reading a lot of text that is easy for you. It should be text where you understand 90% of the words. When you read like this, you do not stop to look up every word. You just keep going. You guess the meaning from the context. This trains your brain to process English quickly and naturally. It helps you see how sentences are built. Find a book series written for English learners, or read news articles on websites designed for learners. Read for pleasure. If the book is boring, put it down and find another one. The goal is to enjoy the story so much that you forget you are reading in English. Make it a habit to read for just 15 minutes before bed. It is a great way to relax and it fills your brain with good English before you sleep. Let us discuss the concept of chunking. Native speakers do not speak word by word. They speak in chunks or groups of words. For example, we do not say, "I would like a cup of coffee." We say, "I would like a cup of coffee." Those are two chunks. I would like and a cup of coffee. When you learn new vocabulary, do not learn isolated words. Learn chunks. Instead of just learning the word decision, learn the chunk make a decision. We never say do a decision. We say make a decision. If you learn the whole chunk, you will never make that mistake. Instead of learning interested, learn interested in. The in is part of the chunk. Whenever you hear a native speaker try to identify the chunks, listen for the pauses. The pauses happen between the chunks. If you speak in chunks, you will sound much more fluent and natural. Practice this with common phrases. Say, "How are you doing?" as one sound. "How are you doing?" Say, "Nice to meet you" as one sound. "Nice to meet you." It flows together like a river. Another practical habit is using your phone as a learning tool, not just a distraction. We already talked about changing your language settings. Now let us talk about your Notes app. Create a specific note called My English Vocabulary. Throughout the day, whenever you hear a cool word in a movie or read a nice phrase in an article, write it down immediately. Do not wait. If you wait, you will forget. But here is the secret. Do not just write the word. Write the sentence you found it in, and then write a sentence of your own using that word. At the end of the week, review your list. Read your sentences out loud. If you do not review, you will forget. Repetition is the mother of learning. You need to see a word many times before it sticks in your long-term memory. Let us touch upon the feeling of embarrassment. Many students tell me, "Jessica, I am too shy to speak. I am afraid people will laugh at me." Let me tell you a secret. Most people are not thinking about you, they are thinking about themselves. They are worrying about their own lives. If you make a grammar mistake, they probably won't even notice. And if they do notice, they won't care. In fact, most native speakers are impressed when someone learns their language. They know it is hard. So give yourself permission to be imperfect. Embrace the awkwardness. Laugh at yourself. If you say the wrong word, just smile and correct yourself. A great habit to build is the so what habit. You made a mistake. So what? You pronounced it wrong. So what? You are learning. You are growing. Do not let fear silence you. The only real failure is not speaking at all. Let us try a visualization exercise for confidence. I want you to imagine a future version of yourself. This version of you is completely fluent in English. Imagine you are at a dinner party with English speakers. You are telling a funny story. Everyone is listening and laughing. You feel relaxed. You are not searching for words. They come effortlessly. You feel proud. Hold that image in your mind. How does it feel in your body? Do you feel taller? Do you feel lighter? Whenever you feel discouraged, bring this image back. This is where you are going. The daily habits are just the steps to get there. Now let us step into the professional world and the social world where the pressure can feel a bit higher. Let us talk about the workplace or the classroom. This is often the most scary place to speak English because we feel like we are being judged. We are afraid of looking unprofessional. But I want to give you a tool that will make you sound instantly more fluent. It is called the art of fillers. When we speak in our native language and we need time to think, we use sounds or words to fill the silence. In English, if you say or too much, it can sound like you are unsure. Instead, I want you to learn professional filler phrases. These are phrases you say while you are thinking of the answer. For example, if someone asks you a difficult question instead of silence, you can say, "That is a very interesting question. Let me think about that for a second." Or you can say, "Well, let me see how to explain this best." These phrases give your brain valuable seconds to find the vocabulary you need, but to the listener, you sound calm and in control. It turns a moment of panic into a moment of confidence. Practice saying these phrases out loud. That is a good point. Let me consider that. Make them automatic so they pop out of your mouth whenever you need a moment to breathe. Now let us discuss the difference between formal and informal English. This is crucial for your career. In English, we have different registers or levels of politeness. For example, in a casual text to a friend, you might say, "I need some help." But in a professional email to your boss, "I need" might sound a bit demanding. Instead, you could say, "I would appreciate some assistance." Notice the difference. Need becomes would appreciate. Help becomes assistance. This is a great habit to practice mentally. When you write an email, try to think of a slightly more formal word for the main verbs. Instead of get, use receive. Instead of ask, use inquire. Instead of talk about, use discuss. You do not have to sound like a dictionary, but a few of these shifts can make your English sound much more sophisticated. Try to create a mental list of these pairs. Get and receive, buy and purchase, start and commence. It is a fun game to play with yourself while you are drafting emails. Let us move on to the concept of active listening sounds. When you are listening to someone speak English in a conversation, do not just sit there in silence with a stone face. In English-speaking cultures, it is normal and expected to make small sounds to show you are listening. Sounds like, uh-huh. right, I see, really, and exactly. These are called back-channeling. If you do not use them, the person speaking might think you do not understand or that you are bored. Using them makes you an active participant in the conversation, even if you are not speaking full sentences. It builds a connection. It makes the other person feel good. And when the other person feels good, they will be more patient with your English. So practice this. Watch a movie or a YouTube video and pretend you are in the conversation. When the actor makes a point, say, I see. When they tell a joke, laugh. When they share bad news, say, oh no. It keeps your energy in the conversation. I want to introduce you to a powerful technique called the explanation game. This is for when you forget a word. It happens to everyone. You are in the middle of a sentence and suddenly your mind goes blank. You want to say stapler, but the word is gone. Do not panic. Do not switch to your native language. Instead, describe it. Explain what it does. Say, you know the small machine we use to join papers together. The person will understand and say, oh, a stapler. And you say, yes, exactly, a stapler. This ability to talk around a word is a sign of advanced fluency. It shows you can navigate obstacles. Practice this at home. Look at an object in your room. Imagine you forgot the name of it. How would you describe it? Look at a lamp. It is a thing that gives light. It has a bulb. Look at a fridge. It is the cold cupboard where we keep food fresh. This makes you fearless because you know that even if you forget a word, you can still communicate your meaning. Let us talk about connected speech. This is the #1 reason why learners say native speakers talk too fast. We do not actually talk faster. We just connect our words. We glue them together. We do not say, I am going to go. We say, I'm gonna go. We do not say, did you eat? We say, did ya eat? We do not say, want to. We say, wanna. This can be confusing if you expect to hear every single letter. To improve your listening, you need to learn these connections. You do not have to speak like this if you do not want to, but you must understand it. A great habit is to look at the lyrics of a song or the transcript of a video and try to mark where the words link together. Usually, a word ending in a consonant will link to a word starting with a vowel. Turn on becomes turn on. Work out becomes work out. Listen for these links. Once you hear them, the wall of sound breaks down into individual words, and you will find yourself understanding much more. Now let us transition to the end of the workday. You are tired. Your brain is full. This is a dangerous time because it is easy to just collapse and forget about English. But we want to keep the momentum going gently. A fantastic habit for the evening is the to-do list. Most successful people write a to-do list for the next day. I want you to write yours in English. It is simple, practical, and effective. Write, buy milk. Call the dentist. Finish the report. Email the client. This keeps your brain thinking in English about your real-life tasks. When you wake up the next morning and look at your list, your first interaction with your day is in English. It is a small bridge that connects today to tomorrow. Another evening habit is gratitude journaling. This is good for your mental health and your English. Before you sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for, but you must write them in full sentences in English. Do not just write coffee. Write, I am grateful for the delicious hot coffee I had this morning. Do not just write sun. Write, I am grateful that the sun was shining during my lunch break. This forces you to use past tense verbs and adjectives that describe positive emotions. Positive emotions help learning stick in the brain. If you associate English with feeling good, you will want to do it more. Let us talk about passive listening versus active listening. We talked about active listening before, where you focus hard. But in the evening, when you are cooking dinner or folding laundry, passive listening is wonderful. Put on an English podcast or a radio station in the background. Do not try to understand every word. Just let the sound wash over you like water. You are getting used to the rhythm, the intonation, and the melody of the language. Your brain is picking up patterns subconsciously. It is like background radiation, but positive. It keeps the English environment alive in your home, even when you are not studying. I want to address a common problem called the translation trap. This happens when you try to translate idioms literally. If a native speaker says, "It is raining cats and dogs," and you translate that into your language, it makes no sense. You need to learn idioms as whole units of meaning. Do not analyze the cats and the dogs. Just understand that the whole phrase means, "It is raining heavily." Make a habit of collecting one idiom a week. Just one. Do not overwhelm yourself. If you learn one a week, that is 52 idioms a year. In 5 years, that is over 200 idioms. That is massive. Use an index card or a note on your phone. This week, maybe your idiom is piece of cake. It means very easy. Next time you finish a task, say, "That was a piece of cake." Let us discuss the importance of collocations. Collocations are words that naturally go together. For example, we say fast food, but we do not say quick food. We say take a shower, not do a shower. We say make the bed, not do the bed. Learning these pairs makes you sound natural. When you learn a new noun, ask yourself which verb goes with it. If you learn the word homework, learn that the verb is do. Do homework. If you learn mistake, learn that the verb is make. Make a mistake. A great habit is to notice these pairs when you are reading. Underline them. Highlight them. They are the building blocks of natural speech. Now let us talk about a fun habit called the movie star method. Pick a character from a movie or TV show whose voice you like. Maybe they speak clearly, or they have an accent you admire. Try to imitate them. Not just their words, but their personality. If they are confident, act confident. If they are funny, act funny. When you take on a persona or a character, it sometimes reduces the fear of speaking. You are not being you are being the character. It tricks your brain into feeling less shy. You can do this alone in front of the mirror. Say famous lines from the movie. "I'll be back. May the force be with you." It is playful, and play is a great way to learn. I want to mention the importance of review. We often focus on learning new things, new words, new grammar, but we forget to review what we already learned. The brain is like a leaky bucket. If you do not keep refilling it, the water runs out. A great habit is spaced repetition. This means you review a word one day after you learn it, then 3 days later, then 1 week later, then 1 month later. There are apps that do this for you, but you can do it yourself. On Sunday, take 10 minutes to look at the words you learned last month. You might be surprised that you forgot some of them. That is okay. Relearning them is much faster the second time. This solidifies the knowledge. Let us think about social media again. We are all on our phones a lot. Use the save feature on Instagram or TikTok. When you see a post in English that teaches you something, save it into a specific collection called English Learning. Then, when you are waiting for the bus, instead of scrolling, mindlessly open your English Learning collection and watch those videos again. This turns your social media from a time waster into a study tool. Curate your feed so that it serves your goals. I also want to talk about patience. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want everything now. We want to lose weight in a week. We want to get rich in a month. We want to learn English in 3 months. But language learning is a biological process. It involves growing new connections in your physical brain. You cannot rush biology. A baby takes years to learn to speak. You are faster than a baby, but you still need time. Be patient with yourself. If you have a bad day where you feel like you cannot speak at all, accept it. It is just a bad day, not a bad life. Tomorrow will be better. The habit of patience is perhaps the most important habit of all. As we move past the work week, let us start talking about the weekend. For many people, the weekend is a time to switch off and relax, and that is very important. But for a language learner, the weekend is also a danger zone. It is very easy to go from Friday evening to Monday morning without speaking a single word of English. If you do this, you take 1 step forward during the week and 2 steps back on the weekend. We do not want that. We want to be weekend warriors. This does not mean studying grammar books on Saturday morning. It means integrating English into your leisure time. Let us say you love cooking. On Saturday, do not just cook your normal recipe. Find a recipe in English. Watch a YouTube video of an American or British chef making the dish. Listen to how they describe the food. They might say chop the onions finely or simmer the sauce gently. These are specific adverbs and verbs that you might not learn in a textbook. By following the recipe in English, you are learning by doing. And the best part is at the end, you get a delicious meal. If the food tastes good, your brain will associate English with a positive reward. Maybe you are not a cook. Maybe you like video games. Video games are an incredible resource for language learning, especially role-playing games, where there is a lot of dialogue. Change the language of the game to English. You will be forced to understand the instructions to win the game. You will learn words like inventory, quest, weapon, and shield. If you play online with other people, try to join a server where people speak English. Put on your headset and say hello. It can be scary to speak to strangers, but remember they are focused on the game, not on your grammar. If you say shoot the enemy and you make a pronunciation mistake, nobody cares as long as you win the game. This creates a high-pressure but low-risk environment, which is perfect for building fluency. Let us move on to a mental exercise I call the what-if game. This is designed to help you with one of the most difficult parts of English grammar, which is conditionals, the if sentences. As you walk around your city or as you sit in the park, play the what-if game in your head. Look at a stranger and ask yourself, what would I do if I knew him? Or, if it started raining right now, where would I go? Or, if I found $1 million on the sidewalk, what would I buy? This forces you to practice the structure. If I would, endlessly. You can do this with the past too. If I had woken up earlier, I would have caught the bus. This is the third conditional. It is very hard to use naturally, but if you practice it as a mental game, it becomes a habit. You are training your brain to handle complex hypothetical situations. Another advanced habit is the debate club of one. We all have opinions. We have opinions about politics, about food, about sports. I want you to practice arguing with yourself in English. Pick a topic. Let us say, is coffee good for you? First argue, yes. Think of 3 reasons why coffee is good. It gives you energy. It tastes good. It is social. Use connecting words like firstly, furthermore, and in addition. Then switch sides. Argue no. Coffee makes you jittery. It is expensive. It stains your teeth. Use contrasting words like however, on the other hand, and nevertheless. This exercise builds your ability to organize your thoughts logically. It helps you move beyond simple sentences to complex paragraphs. And because you are doing it in your head or recording it on your phone, there is no pressure to win the argument. You are just flexing your mental muscles. Let us talk about the concept of descriptive observation. This is a habit you can do anywhere. When you are waiting for a friend or sitting on the train, pick one object or one person and describe them in extreme detail in your head. Do not just say, he is wearing a coat. Say, he is wearing a worn-out leather jacket that looks like it is from the 80s. It has a silver zipper and a small tear on the left shoulder. Do not just say, the tree is green. Say, the tree is massive with gnarled branches reaching up to the gray sky and its leaves are a vibrant emerald green. This forces you to dig deep into your vocabulary. You will realize quickly which words you do not know. If you do not know the word for zipper or gnarled, look them up immediately. This fills the specific gaps in your vocabulary knowledge. Now I want to address the social aspect of humor. Humor is the final frontier of fluency. It is very hard to be funny in a second language, but you can start by understanding it. Make a habit of watching stand-up comedy in English. Start with comedians who speak slowly and clearly. When the audience laughs, analyze why. Was it a play on words? Was it sarcasm? Was it a cultural reference? If you do not understand the joke, do not get frustrated. It is a learning opportunity. Look it up. There are websites that explain jokes for learners. Understanding humor gives you a deep insight into the culture. And one day you will make a joke in English and people will laugh, and that will be one of the best feelings of your life. Let us discuss the digital cleanse, or rather the digital English fi. We spend hours scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The algorithm shows you what you like. You need to train the algorithm to show you English. Search for English hashtags. Hashtag learning. English hashtag vocabulary, hashtag daily routine. Like and save the posts you see. The algorithm will notice and start showing you more. Soon your entire feed will be a classroom, but it won't feel like a classroom. It will feel like entertainment. Follow accounts that are related to your interests but in English. If you love yoga, follow American yoga teachers. If you love cars, follow British car reviewers. You will learn the specific jargon of your hobbies. You will learn that in yoga we say downward dog and inhale. In cars we say steering wheel and horsepower. This is relevant vocabulary that you will actually use. I want to talk about emotional vocabulary. Often in a second language, we only say, I am happy or I am sad. But human emotions are much more complex. A great habit is to check in with yourself 3 times a day and ask, how do I specifically feel? Maybe you are not just sad. Maybe you are disappointed or lonely or frustrated or melancholy. Maybe you are not just happy. Maybe you are content or excited or relieved. Expanding your emotional vocabulary allows you to express your true self. It makes your connections with other people deeper. When you tell a friend, "I am feeling a bit overwhelmed today." It is much more powerful than saying, "I am busy." It invites empathy. Let us integrate a habit for pronunciation drills. Tongue twisters are not just for children. They are serious exercise for your mouth muscles. English has sounds that might not exist in your native language. The th sound is a classic example. The 33 thieves thought that they thrilled the throne throughout Thursday. Try saying that fast. It is hard even for native speakers. But if you practice one tongue twister every morning while you are in the shower, you will loosen up your tongue. You will find that regular speaking becomes easier. You won't stumble over words as much. Find a list of tongue twisters online and pick a new one every week. Red lorry, yellow lorry. She sells seashells by the seashore. It is a fun and silly way to improve a serious skill. Let us think about the news. Watching the news in English can be overwhelming because they speak fast and use difficult political words. But it is a great habit if you do it right. Do not try to watch an hour of CNN or BBC. Watch the headlines, just the first 5 minutes, or read the summaries on a news app. The news usually repeats the same vocabulary over and over again. Election, economy, crisis, development. After a few weeks, you will start to recognize these words instantly. It helps you stay connected to the world, and it gives you something to talk about in small talk. Did you hear about the election results? Is a classic conversation starter. I want to talk about the power of prediction. This is a reading and listening strategy. Before you read an article, look at the headline and the picture. Pause for a moment. Predict what the article is going to be about. What words do you expect to see? If the headline is "New Mars rover lands successfully," you can predict words like space, NASA, planet, science, red. Then read the article. Did you find those words? This activates your brain before you even start reading. It creates a framework for the new information to stick to. You can do this with podcasts too. Read the title and guess the content. It makes you an active learner rather than a passive receiver. Let us revisit the idea of cultural curiosity. Language is not just code, it is culture. A great habit is to be curious about why English speakers do what they do. Why do British people say sorry even when it is not their fault? Why do Americans smile at strangers on the street? Why is "how are you" not really a question about your health, but just a greeting? Investigating these cultural quirks helps you navigate social situations. You will learn that when an American says, "We should get lunch sometime," they might not mean specifically next week. It might just be a polite way of saying, "I like you." Knowing this prevents misunderstanding and disappointment. Let us talk about the 3-sentence story. This is a creative writing habit. Every day write a story that is exactly 3 sentences long. It must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The cat sat on the wall. It saw a bird fly by. It jumped and missed. Simple, but you can make it complex. The exhausted detective stared at the file. He noticed a detail everyone else had missed. Finally, he knew who the killer was. This teaches you narrative structure and conciseness. It forces you to choose your words carefully because you only have 3 sentences. You can post these stories in the comments section or just keep them in a journal. It is a spark of creativity in your day. Now I want to address the intermediate plateau again because it is where most people quit. You feel like you are working hard but not improving. This is an illusion. You are improving, but the improvement is less visible. When you are a beginner, learning 10 words doubles your vocabulary. When you are intermediate, learning 10 words is a drop in the ocean. But those drops count. To push through the plateau, you need intensity. You need to challenge yourself. Instead of reading graded readers, read a real newspaper. Instead of watching educational videos, watch a real movie without subtitles. It will be hard. You will feel stupid. But that struggle is your brain growing. Embrace the struggle. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Let us try a synonym swap exercise. Take a simple sentence like, "The food was good." Now I want you to swap the word good for something better. The food was delicious. The food was exquisite. The food was tasty. The food was mouth-watering. Now take the word bad. The weather was bad. Swap it. The weather was terrible. The weather was awful. The weather was dreadful. The weather was miserable. By actively hunting for synonyms, you expand your range. You stop sounding like a robot and start sounding like a human with feelings and opinions. I want to talk about prepositions of place. These little words like in, on, at, under, behind are a nightmare for many learners. The best way to learn them is to visualize them in your physical space. Look around your room right now. Where is your phone? It is on the table. Where are your shoes? They are under the chair. Where is the picture? It is on the wall. Where are you? You are in the room at your desk. Make a habit of doing a preposition scan of your environment once a day. It takes 10 seconds, but it reinforces these tricky little words until they become instinct. Let us discuss the concept of the English persona. Some people say they feel like a different person when they speak English. Maybe in your native language you are shy and quiet, but in English you feel louder and more direct. Or maybe the opposite. This is normal. In fact, it is a tool. Create an English Jessica or an English John. Give this persona permission to make mistakes. Give this persona permission to be brave. When you switch to English, step into this character. It acts as a shield against anxiety. You are not being judged, your persona is just practicing. I want to suggest a habit called the recap. At the end of a movie or a YouTube video, pause and try to summarize what you just watched in 3 sentences. This video was about how to bake a cake. The chef used too much sugar. The cake collapsed in the oven. This tests your comprehension and your ability to synthesize information. If you cannot summarize it, maybe you did not understand it as well as you thought. Go back and watch it again. This is active consumption. Let us talk about numbers. Numbers are surprisingly hard in a second language. If someone says it costs $1,250, you might have to translate that in your head. To practice this, read license plates on cars as they drive by. Read the numbers quickly in English. 452 781. Read prices in the supermarket. $3.99, $10.50. This rapid-fire practice builds the connection between the visual number and the English word, so you do not have to translate anymore. I want to talk about idioms of the body. English uses the body for many idioms. Keep your chin up means stay positive. Get it off your chest means confess something. Cold feet means you are nervous. Play it by ear means improvise. Pick one body part and learn the idioms associated with it. Let us pick hand. Give me a hand means help me. Hands full means busy. Get out of hand means lose control. Grouping idioms by theme makes them easier to remember. Let us consider the echo method. This is similar to shadowing, but with a delay. Listen to a sentence. Pause the audio. Wait for 2 seconds. Then say the sentence. You are relying on your echoic memory. You are hearing the sound in your mind's ear before you say it. This helps you check your pronunciation against the memory of the native speaker's voice. It is a great test of listening accuracy. I want to end this section by talking about kindness. Be kind to yourself. You are doing something very difficult. You are rewiring your brain. There will be days when you feel stupid. There will be days when you want to quit. On those days, be your own best friend. Say to yourself, I am doing my best and my best is enough. Remind yourself how far you have come. Think about the first day you started learning English. You know so much more now than you did then. Progress is not a straight line. It is a messy, squiggly line. But as long as you keep moving forward, you will get there. Going deeper into the nuances, let us start with a very important social habit called the art of softening. In many cultures, being direct is a sign of honesty. You might say, I disagree or I do not like that. But in English-speaking cultures, especially in the UK and parts of the US, being too direct can be considered rude or aggressive. We use softeners to make our language gentler. A great habit is to practice adding these softeners to your sentences. Instead of saying, no, I cannot do that, try saying, I am afraid I cannot do that, or I am not sure that is possible. Instead of saying, I disagree, try saying, I see your point, but I think differently. This is not just about being nice, it is about being effective. People listen more when they do not feel attacked. Practice this in your head. Imagine someone asks you to work on the weekend. Do not just say, no. Say, I would love to help, but I already have plans. It sounds much better, and it maintains the relationship. Now let us tackle a source of great anxiety for many learners, which is the telephone. Speaking on the phone is the hardest test of fluency because you cannot see the other person's face. You cannot read their lips or their body language. You rely 100% on your ears. To conquer this fear, you need to build a phone habit. You do not need to call real people yet. You can simulate it. Call your own voicemail or record a voice note in your phone. Pretend you are booking a table at a restaurant. Say, hello, I would like to reserve a table for 2 for Friday night at 7 o'clock. Listen to your recording. Did you sound confident? Did you speak clearly? Practice leaving messages for different scenarios. Leaving a message for a doctor. Leaving a message for a colleague. This rehearsal creates a script in your brain, so when you actually have to make a call, you are not panicking. You are just reciting what you have practiced. Let us move to a specific grammar point that drives learners crazy, which is the use of articles. The words a, an, and the. Rules are boring, but habits are powerful. The habit here is specific versus general. When you look at an object, ask yourself, is this a specific object or a general one? If you say, pass me a pen, it means any pen in the world will do. If you say, pass me the pen, it means that specific pen right there on the table. As you walk around your house, point at things and practice this distinction. Point at the lamp and say, this is a lamp, then touch it and say, the lamp is hot. You introduce it as general with a, and then refer to it as specific with the. Doing this physically with objects helps to cement the abstract grammar rule into a concrete reality. I want to talk about travel simulation. You might not be able to fly to New York or London tomorrow, but you can pretend. Turn your house into a hotel. When you walk into your bedroom, pretend you are checking in. Say to yourself, I would like to check in. Please, my name is Jessica. Here's my passport. What time is breakfast served? When you go to your kitchen, pretend it is a coffee shop. I would like a tall latte to go, please. Do you accept credit cards? Keep the change. By acting out these scripts in the safety of your home, you are building the neural pathways. When you finally do travel, these phrases will come out of your mouth automatically because you have said them 100 times before in your kitchen. Let us discuss the concept of phrasal verbs for relationships. Relationships are the core of human life, and English has many phrasal verbs to describe them. We have get along with, which means to have a good relationship. We have fall out with, which means to argue and stop speaking. We have make up, which means to become friends again after an argument. And we have look up to, which means to admire someone. Pick one of these phrasal verbs each week and apply it to the people in your life. Ask yourself, who do I look up to? Who did I fall out with in the past? Do I get along with my boss? By connecting these verbs to real people and real emotions, you will remember them much better than if you just read them in a list. Now let us talk about transition signals. These are the words that act like bridges between your ideas. Beginners use and but. Advanced speakers use however, therefore, consequently, moreover, and nevertheless. Using these words makes you sound intelligent and organized. A great habit is to take a simple opinion and try to upgrade it with a transition signal. Start with, I like summer, but it is too hot. Upgrade it to, I enjoy the summer season, however the heat can be excessive. Start with, it rained so we stayed home. Upgrade it to, it was raining heavily, therefore we decided to stay indoors. You are saying the same thing, but the second version belongs in a university essay or a business meeting. Practice upgrading one sentence a day. I want to address listening for tone. Sometimes what people say is not what they mean. If someone says, that is interesting, with a flat voice and no smile, they probably mean, that is boring, or I do not agree. This is called sarcasm or irony. It is very common in British English. To practice this, watch a drama series and pay attention to the faces and the voice pitch. When a character says fine, do they mean it is good, or do they mean they are angry? Usually a short, sharp fine means they are angry. Developing this emotional intelligence in a second language takes time, but it starts with observation. Do not just listen to the words, listen to the music behind the words. Let us talk about the 3 forms of verbs. We all know we need to learn the past participle. Go, went, gone. Eat, ate, eaten. See, saw, seen. A great habit is to recite these like a mantra when you are doing rhythmic activities like walking or running. Step 1, say go. Step 2, say went. Step 3, say gone. Break, broke, broken. Sing, sang, sung. The rhythm of your steps helps the rhythm of the language stick in your brain. It turns a boring memory drill into a movie meditation. If you do this for 10 minutes on your walk, you can review 50 verbs without looking at a book. I want to introduce you to the definition game. This is a way to stop translating. When you see a word, do not think of the word in your native language. Think of the definition in English. If you see a chair, do not say the word for chair in your language. Say, a piece of furniture with 4 legs used for sitting. If you see a wallet, say, a small flat case for carrying money and cards. This forces your brain to stay in English mode. It is also excellent practice for relative clauses because you are using words like which, who, and where. A teacher is a person who helps students learn. A library is a place where books are kept. Let us discuss idioms of time. We use time idioms constantly. Time flies means time passes quickly. Kill time means to do something while waiting. In the nick of time means at the very last moment. Once in a blue moon means very rarely. Try to use one of these idioms every day. If you are waiting for the bus, say, I am just killing time. If you arrive at work just before the meeting starts, say, I got here in the nick of time. Using idioms correctly is one of the biggest signs of fluency because it shows you understand the culture, not just the literal words. Now let us look at the hypothetical past. This is the grammar of regret. I should have, I could have, I would have. We use this to talk about things we did not do but wish we had. A useful habit is to review your day at night and find one thing you could have done differently. I could have woken up earlier. I should have eaten a healthier lunch. I would have gone for a walk if it hadn't rained. This is a safe way to practice a complex grammar structure. You are not dwelling on the negative, you are just using your life as grammar practice. I want to talk about the power of prefix and suffix. You can triple your vocabulary by understanding how words are built. If you know the word happy, you can add un to make unhappy. You can add ness to make happiness. If you know employ, you can make employment. Employer, employee, unemployed. When you learn a new word, ask yourself, what are its family members? Can I make it a noun? Can I make it an adjective? Can I make it negative? This is called word formation. Make a habit of playing with words. Take the word act, actor, action, active, activity, react, interaction. Suddenly, one word becomes 10 words. Let us explore simulated arguments. This sounds aggressive, but it is very useful. To be fluent, you need to be able to defend your opinion. Pick a controversial topic like, should students wear uniforms? Debate it in the shower. I think students should wear uniforms because it saves money and reduces bullying. Then switch sides. I disagree. I think uniforms destroy individuality and are uncomfortable. Use phrases like, in my opinion, from my perspective, and I firmly believe. This prepares you for real discussions where you need to think fast. I want to suggest a habit for email writing. We write more than we speak in the modern world. Open a blank email and write a message to your future self. Tell your future self what you are doing today, what you are worried about, and what you hope to achieve. Send it to yourself and schedule it to arrive in 1 month. When you receive it, you will be reading your own English. You will see your mistakes and you will see your progress. It is a time capsule of your language journey. Plus, it is always nice to get an email even if it is from yourself. Let us talk about compliments. Giving compliments is a great social skill. In English, we often compliment appearances or achievements. I love your shoes. Great job on that presentation. You look nice today. Make a habit of giving one mental compliment to 3 people you see every day. You do not have to say it out loud if you are shy, but think it. That is a nice tie. She has a lovely smile. He is a very fast runner. If you are brave, say it out loud. It will make someone's day and it will give you a positive interaction in English. I want to address the fear of stalling. Stalling is when you stop speaking because you do not know what to say. To avoid the awkward silence, use stalling phrases. That is a tough one. Let me think. How should I put this? What I am trying to say is, these phrases keep the floor. They tell the listener, I am not finished, I am just thinking. Native speakers use them all the time. Learn 3 or 4 of them and keep them in your pocket for emergencies. Let us discuss compound nouns. English loves to smash 2 nouns together to make a new one. Tooth plus brush is toothbrush. Sun plus flower is sunflower. Rain plus coat is raincoat. Look around your world and try to spot them. Bedroom, airport, notebook, laptop. Breaking them down helps you understand the logic of the language. It makes the vocabulary feel less random and more structured. I want to talk about speed reading. Sometimes we read too slowly because we are trying to be perfect. But in real life, we need to scan for information. Pick an article and give yourself 1 minute to find 3 specific facts. For example, find a name, a date, and a place. Do not read the whole thing, just let your eyes fly over the text until you find the information. This skill is called scanning, and it is essential for exams and for busy work days. It teaches your brain to prioritize information. Let us revisit body language. In English, specific gestures have specific meanings. Shrugging your shoulders means I do not know. Crossing your fingers means good luck. Giving a thumbs up means good or okay. Air quotes made with your fingers mean irony or so-called. Try to incorporate these gestures when you are speaking or narrating your day. If you say, I hope I pass the test, cross your fingers. If you say, I have no idea, shrug your shoulders. Connecting the physical movement to the phrase strengthens the memory. Finally, I want to talk about the identity shift. This is the most profound habit. Stop saying, I am trying to learn English. Start saying, I am an English speaker. It might feel like a lie at first, but it is not. If you speak English, you are an English speaker. The level does not matter. When you change your identity, you change your behavior. An English speaker reads in English. An English speaker listens to English. An English speaker is not afraid of mistakes. Wear this new identity with pride. Let us start with a skill that is essential for adult life, but often very hard in a second language, and that is the art of complaining politely. Nobody likes to complain, but sometimes it is necessary. Maybe your food is cold at a restaurant, or maybe there is a mistake on your bill. In your native language, you know exactly how to say this. But in English, learners often stay silent because they are afraid of offending someone. The secret habit here is using the sandwich method. You sandwich the negative comment between 2 positive or polite comments. For example, if you need to return a shirt to a store, do not just say, I want to return this. Start with the top slice of bread, which is a polite opener. Hello, I bought this shirt yesterday. Then the meat, which is the problem. Unfortunately, I realize there is a small hole in the sleeve. Then the bottom slice of bread, which is the solution. Is it possible to exchange it for a new one? This structure softens the blow. It makes the other person want to help you. Practice this script in your head. Imagine you are at a coffee shop and they gave you tea instead of coffee. Excuse me, this tea looks lovely, but I actually ordered a coffee. Would you mind checking that for me? Assertiveness is not aggression. It is clarity mixed with kindness. Now let us move to a very important topic, which is your health. Medical English sounds scary, but it is actually survival English. If you get sick while traveling or living abroad, saying, I feel bad, is not enough for the doctor to help you. You need specific habits of description. Learn the difference between a pain and an ache. A pain is usually sharp and sudden. An ache is usually dull and constant, like a headache or a stomach ache. Practice describing your body sensations. I have a throbbing headache. I have a sharp pain in my knee. I feel nauseous. I feel dizzy. A great habit is to do a body scan once a week. Close your eyes and scan your body from head to toe. If your neck is stiff, say, "My neck is stiff." If your eyes are itchy, say, "My eyes are itchy." This prepares you for the doctor's office so you do not freeze up when they ask, "What seems to be the problem?" I want to introduce you to a memory technique called the memory palace, or the method of loci. This is an ancient Greek technique used by memory champions. To use this for English, pick a place you know very well, like your childhood home. Visualize walking through the front door. Now, if you want to learn 5 difficult words, place them in specific spots in your house. Let us say you want to learn the word ubiquitous, which means found everywhere. Imagine opening your front door and seeing ants everywhere covering the floor, the walls, the ceiling. The ants are ubiquitous. Then you walk to the kitchen and you want to learn the word cacophony, which means a loud, harsh mixture of sounds. Imagine all your pots and pans falling out of the cupboard, crashing onto the floor. That sound is a cacophony. By connecting the abstract word to a vivid visual image in a physical location, you lock it into your brain. You can walk through your memory palace while you are waiting for the bus and review your vocabulary. Let us discuss the concept of paralinguistics. This refers to everything in speech that is not the actual words. It is the volume, the speed, and the pitch. In English, we use pitch to show emotion. If your voice is flat, people might think you are bored. If your voice goes up and down, it shows you are engaged. A great habit is to practice pitch variation. Take a simple sentence like, "I did not say he stole the money." Now say it 7 times, emphasizing a different word each time. "I did not say he stole the money" implies someone else said it. "I did not say he stole the money" implies I wrote it or thought it. "I did not say he stole the money" implies maybe he borrowed it. This exercise shows you how stress changes meaning. It helps you become a more expressive speaker. I want to talk about the power of persuasion. This means setting the stage before you speak. If you are about to say something complex in English, it is okay to warn the listener. You can say, "Please bear with me, I am still learning English." Or, "I am going to try to explain this, but let me know if it is not clear." This lowers the pressure. Most people are kind and will be more patient if you invite them to help you. It turns the conversation into a team effort rather than a test. Let us look at weather talk, but at an advanced level. Everyone knows it is sunny or it is raining. But native speakers use much more colorful language. We say it is pouring when it is raining hard. We say it is scorching when it is very hot. We say it is brisk when it is cold but refreshing. Make a habit of checking the weather app every morning and trying to find the most specific adjective to describe it. If it is cloudy, do not just say cloudy, say overcast or gloomy. This specific vocabulary adds texture to your small talk. I want to address the habit of reading aloud. We often read silently, which is good for speed, but reading aloud is good for muscles. When you read silently, you can skip over difficult pronunciation. When you read aloud, you cannot hide. You have to produce the sound. Pick one paragraph from a book or a news article every evening. Read it out loud to your empty room. Listen to yourself. Did you stumble over a word? If so, stop and say it 5 times. This bridges the gap between your passive understanding and your active production. It is like a dress rehearsal for real speaking. Let us talk about euphemisms. These are polite words we use to talk about unpleasant or sensitive topics. Instead of saying someone died, we often say they passed away. Instead of saying someone is unemployed, we might say they are between jobs. Instead of saying a problem is bad, we might say it is challenging or an issue. Learning these euphemisms helps you sound more sophisticated and sensitive. Pay attention to how politicians or news anchors speak. They are masters of euphemism. Try to spot them and write them down. I want to suggest a habit for dealing with information overload. Sometimes, when listening to English, you get overwhelmed by too many words. You stop understanding. The habit to build here is keyword detection. Do not try to understand every word. Relax your brain and just listen for the stressed words. Usually the nouns and verbs. Dog, ran, park, ball. Even if you miss the grammar words, you know the story. The dog ran in the park with a ball. Trust your brain to fill in the gaps. This reduces anxiety and actually improves comprehension because you are not panicking over every missing preposition. Let us discuss the rule of 3 in storytelling. Human brains love the number 3. The 3 little pigs, Goldilocks and the 3 bears. When you tell a story or give an example in English, try to use 3 points. I love this city because the food is great, the people are friendly, and the weather is perfect. It feels complete. If you only say 2 things, the food is great and the people are friendly, it feels like something is missing. If you say 4 things, it can feel like a list. 3 is the magic number. Try to structure your opinions in 3s. I think we should do this for 3 reasons. 1, 2, and 3. It makes you sound very persuasive. I want to talk about interjections. These are the little emotional explosions in language. Ouch. Wow. Oops. Yuck. Phew. Using the correct English interjection makes you sound very natural. If you drop your keys, say oops instead of the sound you would make in your native language. If you see something disgusting, say yuck. If you are relieved, say phew. These sounds are wired directly to our emotions, so retraining them takes a conscious effort, but it is a fun habit to build. Let us explore cultural idioms of money. Money is a big topic. Cost an arm and a leg means very expensive. Penny pincher is someone who saves money aggressively. Break the bank means to use all your money. On the house means the restaurant is giving you the food for free. Next time you buy something, ask yourself, did this cost an arm and a leg? Or was it a bargain? Using these idioms connects you to the history and values of the culture. I want to mention the importance of curiosity questions. When you are in a conversation, the best way to keep it going is to be curious. Memorize a few double white questions. What made you decide to do that? When did you first get interested in that? Who has been your biggest influence? People love talking about themselves. If you ask these questions, you take the pressure off yourself to speak. You can just listen and nod, and the other person will think you are a fantastic conversationalist. Let us talk about the review loop. We learn new things every day, but we forget them just as fast. A great habit is the Sunday review. Set aside 20 minutes on Sunday to look through the notes on your phone or your notebook. Just read them. You do not have to memorize them, just remind your brain that they exist. Oh yes, I learned the word ubiquitous on Tuesday. This light refreshment prevents the knowledge from fading away completely. I want to address perfectionism again because it is the biggest enemy. Perfectionism tells you that if you cannot say it perfectly, you should not say it at all. This is a lie. Communication is messy. Even native speakers make mistakes. They stutter, they use the wrong word, they change sentences in the middle. Give yourself the permission to be messy. Focus on connection, not perfection. If the other person understands you, you have succeeded. That is the only rule that matters. Let us try a visualization of success. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you are in a high-pressure situation, maybe a job interview in English. Imagine the interviewer asks you a hard question. Now visualize yourself taking a deep breath, smiling and answering, slowly and clearly. Visualize the interviewer nodding and looking impressed. Visualizing success primes your brain to act that way when the real situation happens. It reduces the fear response. I want to talk about acronyms. English is full of them, especially in business and texting. ASAP means as soon as possible. FYI means for your information. DIY means do it yourself. CEO is Chief Executive Officer. When you see these, do not just say the letters. Make sure you know what they stand for. It helps you understand the context. If a shop says DIY, you know it sells tools and paint. Let us discuss the mirror technique. This is a classic for a reason. Stand in front of a mirror and watch your mouth move while you speak English. Does your mouth move differently than when you speak your native language? It should. English requires different muscle movements. Watching yourself helps you self-correct. It also helps you get comfortable with the image of yourself speaking this new language. It integrates the English you into your self-image. I want to encourage you to teach back. The best way to learn something is to teach it. You do not need a classroom. Teach your cat. Teach your plant. Teach your imaginary friend. Hey, did you know that the word serendipity means a happy accident? When you explain a concept, you force your brain to organize the information logically. If you can explain it simply, you understand it deeply. Let us start with a professional necessity called the elevator pitch. Imagine you step into an elevator and the CEO of your dream company is there. You have 30 seconds before the doors open. He asks, "So what do you do?" Most people panic. They stammer. They say something boring. You need a habit of practicing your elevator pitch. This is a short summary of who you are and what you offer. It should be 3 sentences. Who you are, what you do, and the value you bring. I am a graphic designer who specializes in branding. I help small businesses look professional so they can attract more clients. That is it. Clean and powerful. Practice this in the shower. Practice it while making toast. Change it for different situations. I am an English learner who is passionate about communication. I am a student looking for opportunities in engineering. Having this script ready removes the anxiety of introduction. It makes you look prepared and confident, which is half the battle in any social interaction. Now let us dive into the concept of connotation. This is what separates intermediate vocabulary from advanced vocabulary. Denotation is the dictionary definition of a word. Connotation is the feeling of the word. For example, skinny and slim both mean thin, but skinny can be negative, implying too thin or weak. Slim is positive, implying elegant and fit. Cheap and frugal both mean saving money. But cheap is negative, implying you do not want to spend money even when you should. Frugal is positive, implying you are wise with money. A great habit is to categorize new adjectives as positive. negative, or neutral. When you learn a new word, ask yourself, is this a compliment or an insult? If you call your boss stubborn, he might be angry. If you call him determined, he will be happy. They mean almost the same thing, but the feeling is different. Mastering connotation prevents you from accidentally offending people. Let us talk about global English. Many learners obsess over having a perfect British or American accent. But the reality is that more non-native speakers speak English than native speakers. In your career, you are more likely to speak English with a German or a Chinese or a Brazilian person than with a native Brit. A crucial habit is to expose your ears to different accents. Do not just listen to the BBC. Listen to podcasts hosted by Indian speakers, by French speakers, by Japanese speakers. Each accent has its own rhythm and challenges. If you only practice with clear American English, you will be shocked when you face the real world. Being able to understand a heavy accent is a superpower. It shows you are a true global citizen. It requires patience and a tuning in period where you adjust your ears to their sound. I want to discuss the art of diplomacy. Sometimes you have to say no or give bad news. In English, we almost never do this directly. We wrap it in cotton wool. Instead of saying, "You are wrong," we say, "I am not sure I agree with that." Instead of saying, "This is bad work," we might say, "That could be improved in a few areas." This is called mitigation. It is the habit of making things smaller or softer. Learn phrases like a little bit, slightly, somewhat, and perhaps. It is a little bit expensive. I am slightly confused. Perhaps we should try another way. These words act as a cushion. They protect the other person's ego. If you master mitigation, you will be seen as a sophisticated and polite communicator who is easy to work with. Let us look at speed writing. In the age of instant messaging, we need to write fast, but we also want to be correct. A good habit is to use the dictation feature on your phone. Speak your message in English and let the phone write it. Then read what it wrote. Did it understand you? If the phone wrote the wrong word, it might mean your pronunciation was unclear. This is an instant feedback loop. It also helps you see the spelling of words you usually only say. It connects the sound to the sight. Send a text to a friend using dictation at least once a day. It is a quick pronunciation test that feels like a game. I want to talk about cultural references. Sometimes you understand every word in a sentence, but you still do not understand the meaning because it refers to a movie or a book or a historical event. If someone says he is a real Scrooge, they are referring to a character from A Christmas Carol who is mean with money. If someone says, "We are not in Kansas anymore," they are quoting The Wizard of Oz to say, "Things are weird. You cannot learn all of these overnight." But when you hear a phrase that makes no sense, it is usually a cultural reference. Do not ignore it. Google it. Meaning of not in Kansas anymore. Building a library of these references helps you understand jokes and deepens your connection to the culture. Let us discuss the power of silence. In conversation, we often feel we must fill every second with noise. If we stop speaking, we panic. But silence is a tool. Native speakers use silence to think, to emphasize a point, or to let the other person speak. If you are asked a question, do not rush to answer. Take a pause. Look thoughtful. It shows confidence. It shows you are considering your answer. A great habit is to count to 2 in your head before answering a complex question. 1, 2. Well, I think that. This pause gives your brain time to organize the grammar and it makes you look wise. I want to introduce the 5 whys technique for deep conversation. This is a habit to stop surface-level small talk. If someone says, "I like travel," do not just say, "Me too." Ask why. Because I like seeing new places. Ask why. Because it makes me feel free. Ask why. Because my job is very stressful. Now you are in a real conversation. You are talking about stress and freedom, not just airplanes. Use the why question gently. Do not interrogate them, but use it to dig deeper. It helps you practice complex sentence structures because the answers will require because, since, and due to. Let us talk about identifying your crutch words. We all have words we use too much when we are nervous. Maybe you say actually in every sentence, or like, or basically. These are crutch words. They support you when you are limping. Record yourself speaking for 2 minutes. Listen back and count how many times you used your crutch word. Awareness is the first step to change. Once you know your crutch word, try to pause instead of saying it. Replace the actually with a silence. It cleans up your speech instantly. I want to suggest a habit called the devil's advocate. This is an advanced thinking skill. When you read an opinion piece or listen to a news story, try to argue the opposite side even if you do not believe it. If the article says remote work is the future, try to list 3 reasons why office work is better. Face-to-face collaboration, social interaction, separation of home and work. This forces you to use vocabulary you normally wouldn't use because you are arguing against your own bias. It makes your brain flexible. Let us look at nominalization. This is a fancy word for turning verbs into nouns. Academic and formal English uses a lot of nouns. Instead of saying, "The population grew quickly," verb plus adverb, formal English says, "The population experienced rapid growth," adjective plus noun. Instead of saying, "We need to analyze the data," say, "We need to perform an analysis of the data." This sounds much more professional. A great habit is to take a simple verb sentence and try to turn it into a noun sentence. "They discuss the problem" becomes, "They had a discussion about the problem." It makes you sound like a professor or a CEO. I want to talk about the joy of etymology. Etymology is the history of words. Knowing where a word comes from can help you remember it. For example, muscle comes from the Latin for little mouse, because a flexing muscle looks like a mouse moving under the skin. Disaster comes from dis, bad, and aster, star, meaning a bad alignment of the stars. These stories are sticky. Your brain loves stories. When you learn a difficult word, look up its origin. It takes 1 minute, but it anchors the word in your memory forever. Let us discuss code switching. This is the ability to change the way you speak depending on who you are talking to. You speak differently to your boss than to your best friend. In English, this is about register. With a friend, you say, "Hey, what's up?" With a boss, you say, "Good morning, how are you?" With a friend, you say, "I'm going to grab some food." With a boss, you say, "I am going to get some lunch." Being stuck in one mode is a problem. If you speak to your boss like a teenager, you look unprofessional. If you speak to your friends like a textbook, you look stiff. Practice shifting gears. Imagine you are talking to the Queen. Now imagine you are talking to a rapper. Same message, different words. I want to address burnout. Learning a language is a marathon and sometimes you hit the wall. You just cannot do it anymore. That is okay. The habit here is active rest. When you are burned out, do not quit English. Just switch to zero-effort English. Watch a movie you have seen 10 times before. Listen to music. Do not study. Do not memorize. Just exist in the language. Let it wash over you without pressure. This keeps the connection alive while your brain heals. Let us talk about nuance in humor. We talked about jokes before, but sarcasm is a specific type of humor that is very common in English. It is saying the opposite of what you mean. If it is raining and someone says, "Lovely weather, isn't it?" that is sarcasm. It relies on tone. A great habit is to look for the mismatch between the words and the situation. If the words are positive but the situation is negative, it is probably sarcasm. Do not take it literally. Smile and say, "Absolutely beautiful." Now you are in on the joke. I want to suggest the podcast speed challenge. If you listen to podcasts comfortably at normal speed, try speeding it up to 1.2x or 1.5x. It will sound crazy at first, but listen for 5 minutes. Then switch it back to 1.0x. Suddenly, normal speed will sound incredibly slow and clear. It is like training with heavy weights. When you take the weights off, you feel light. This trains your brain to process information faster. Let us wrap up with the legacy mindset. The best way to learn is to help others. You are listening to this, which means you are advanced. You know more than a beginner. Find a beginner and help them. Correct their pronunciation gently. Suggest a resource. Explaining a concept clarifies it for you. It also gives you confidence. You realize, wow, I actually know this. You are not just a learner anymore, you are a guide. Let us begin with the skill of public speaking, or as I like to call it, holding the floor. You might think you do not need this if you are not giving a TED Talk, but anytime you tell a story at a dinner party or present an idea in a meeting, you are public speaking. The number one habit here is signposting. When you speak for more than a minute, you need to give your listeners a map. Use phrases that tell them where you are going. I am going to share a story about my trip. There are 3 main parts to this. Moving on to the next point. In conclusion, these signposts act like traffic lights. They stop the listener from getting lost. A great practice exercise is to pick a random topic like why I love coffee and speak for 2 minutes using at least 3 signposts. First, I love the smell. Secondly, I love the energy it gives me. Finally, I love the social aspect. It gives your speech structure, and structure sounds like authority. Now let us tackle abstract vocabulary. Beginners talk about things they can touch, like tables and apples. Advanced speakers talk about concepts they cannot touch, like freedom, integrity, nostalgia, and ambivalence. To build this habit, you need to practice defining these words. How would you explain nostalgia to a child? You might say, it is a happy and sad feeling when you remember the past. How would you explain integrity? It is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Pick one abstract concept a day and try to define it in simple English. This forces you to understand the core of the idea, and it expands your ability to discuss philosophy, politics, and ethics. It moves you from small talk to deep talk. I want to introduce you to a listening habit called the Cornell method, adapted for language learning. This is a way of taking notes. Divide a piece of paper into 2 columns. On the right side, write down the main ideas you hear in a podcast or video. On the left side, write down the specific new vocabulary or grammar structures used to express those ideas. At the bottom, write a 2-sentence summary. Doing this forces you to listen for 2 things at once, meaning and mechanics. You are listening to what is said and how it is said. This dual processing is very difficult at first, but it is the fastest way to analyze and absorb high-level English. Try it with a short 5-minute video. You will be surprised at how much you miss when you just listen passively. Let us talk about the rule of empathy. In advanced conversation, it is not enough to just understand the words. You need to understand the emotion. If someone tells you, "I just lost my job," and you say, "Oh, that is bad," it is grammatically correct, but socially weak. A better habit is to validate the emotion. "Oh no, I am so sorry to hear that. You must be devastated." Or, "That must be incredibly stressful for you." Learn adjectives of emotion: devastated, thrilled, anxious, relieved. Practice matching your response to the intensity of the news. If the news is a 10 out of 10, your reaction should be a 10 out of 10. If you react with a 2, it feels cold. Watch drama series and pause after a character shares news. Ask yourself, what is the empathetic response here? Then play and see what the other character says. I want to discuss the art of improvisation. Real life is not scripted. You never know what someone is going to say. To train for this, play the random word game. Pick 2 random words that have nothing to do with each other, like elephant and laptop. Now try to make a sentence connecting them. The elephant stepped on my laptop. I need a laptop the size of an elephant. This sounds silly, but it forces your brain to make rapid connections. It builds linguistic agility, the ability to pivot and change direction quickly. Do this when you are bored on the train. Look at an advertisement and a person and try to connect them in a story. That man looks like he needs the holiday in that advertisement. It keeps your creative brain active. Let us look at idioms of the mind. English has many phrases about thinking. Rack your brains means to think very hard. Cross your mind means to occur to you briefly. Ring a bell means to sound familiar. In 2 minds means undecided. Using these idioms makes you sound very natural because they describe the internal process of thinking. Next time you forget something, say, "I am racking my brains, but I cannot remember." Next time you are undecided, say, "I am in 2 minds about which phone to buy." It gives the listener a window into your mental state. I want to talk about the power of voice notes. We mentioned this briefly before, but let us go deeper. Start a group chat with a friend who is also learning English, or even with yourself. Send a daily voice note. But here is the rule: you cannot delete and re-record. You have to send the first take. This mimics real life. In real life, there is no delete button. If you stumble, you have to correct yourself and keep going. This builds the habit of repair. Repair is when you fix a mistake while speaking. I went to the store. I went to the market. Fluent speakers repair constantly. If you always re-record until it is perfect, you are training for a reality that does not exist. Embrace the messy first take. Let us discuss reading for style. When you read a book, do not just follow the plot. Look at how the author writes. Do they use short, punchy sentences? Do they use long, flowing descriptions? Try to copy their style. If you read a thriller, write a paragraph about your breakfast in the style of a thriller. The toast popped. I grabbed the knife. The butter was too hard. Time was running out. If you read a romance, write about your commute in that style. The bus arrived like a long-lost lover through the mist. This is a fun, creative exercise that shows you the flexibility of English. It teaches you that you can paint with words. I want to address the fear of accents. Many learners hate their own accent. They think it sounds wrong. I want you to reframe this habit. Your accent is your history. It tells people where you are from and that you are brave enough to speak a second language. Instead of trying to eliminate your accent, try to soften it for clarity. Focus on the sounds that cause misunderstanding. For many learners, this is the th sound, or the difference between V and B or R and L. Use the International Phonetic Alphabet chart to find exactly where your tongue should be for these specific sounds. Fix the ones that block communication and embrace the rest. Your accent is your signature. Let us talk about persuasion. How do you convince someone in English? You need the language of logic and emotion. Use phrases like, "It is undeniable that," "evidence suggests that," "imagine a world where." These are rhetorical devices. A great habit is to imagine you are a lawyer in a courtroom. You have to convince the jury that pizza is the best food. How would you do it? Ladies and gentlemen, consider the versatility of the pizza. Look at the evidence of its popularity. Practicing this high rhetoric is fun, and it gives you power in arguments. You stop sounding like a student and start sounding like an orator. I want to suggest the 24-hour challenge. Pick one day a week, usually a Saturday or Sunday, where you consume zero content in your native language. No news, no music, no movies. Only English. If you want to search for a recipe, search in English. If you want to watch the news, watch CNN or BBC. This mini immersion shocks your brain. It forces it to switch operating systems. By the end of the day, you might find yourself dreaming in English. That is the ultimate sign that it is sinking into your subconscious. Let us discuss humility phrases. Sometimes you need to admit you do not know something. In English, we have polite ways to do this. "I am not entirely sure." That is not my area of expertise. I would have to look into that. Off the top of my head, I do not know. These are much better than just saying, "I don't know." They sound professional. They imply that you could find the answer given time. Practice these phrases so you do not look incompetent when you are just uninformed. I want to talk about the future you. Language learning is a project that never really ends. You will always be learning new words. Make a habit of writing a letter to yourself 5 years from now. Write about your hopes for your English. I hope you are reading novels easily. I hope you are working in an international company. I hope you have visited London. Seal it and put it away. This act of projecting into the future gives you a long-term perspective. It reminds you that the struggle of today is building the success of tomorrow. Let us look at the news summary. This is a great habit for synthesis. Read 3 different news articles about the same topic. Maybe one from the US, one from the UK, and one from your own country. Then try to explain the story to a friend in English, focusing on the differences. The American article focused on the politics, but the British article focused on the economy. This develops critical thinking skills. You are comparing and contrasting sources, which is a very advanced cognitive skill. I want to address energy management. Speaking a foreign language burns a lot of glucose. It is physically tiring. If you have a big presentation or a long meeting in English, make sure you eat well and rest before. It sounds simple, but your brain needs fuel. Do not try to do difficult English tasks when you are hungry or exhausted. You will get frustrated. Be kind to your biology. Finally, I want to talk about legacy. You are not just learning for yourself. You are opening a door for your family, your children, your friends. When you speak English, you bring back knowledge from the wider world. You become a bridge. Remind yourself of this purpose. It is bigger than grammar. It is bigger than vocabulary. It is about connection. Let us start with the concept of the flow state. You know that feeling when you are doing something you love, maybe painting or running or playing a video game, and you lose track of time. You forget to eat. You forget to check your phone. You are completely absorbed. This is called flow. It is the holy grail of language learning. When you are in flow, you are not translating. You are not worrying about grammar. You are just communicating. To trigger this habit, you need to find an activity that is slightly difficult, but not too difficult. If it is too hard, you get anxious. If it is too easy, you get bored. Find a book or a podcast that is just right. It should challenge you a little bit, but you should understand the main story. When you find this sweet spot, set a timer for 30 minutes and promise yourself you will not stop. Do not look up words. Do not pause. Just ride the wave of the language. The more you enter this state, the more your brain realizes that English is safe and natural. Now let us talk about handling interruptions. In real life, you will be interrupted. You will be telling a story in English and a waiter will ask for your order, or a phone will ring, or someone will cough. This often breaks the concentration of a learner and they forget what they were saying. You need a recovery habit. Learn phrases that help you get back on track. Where was I? As I was saying, to get back to the point. Anyway, moving on. Practice this. Start telling a story to yourself and then deliberately interrupt yourself by clapping your hands loud. Then try to recover immediately using one of these phrases. So I was walking down the street. Clap. As I was saying, I was walking down the street. This builds resilience against distraction. I want to discuss the power of metaphors and similes. Advanced speakers do not just describe facts, they paint pictures. Instead of saying, I was very busy, say, I was buried under work. Instead of saying, she is very happy, say, she is beaming like the sun. Instead of saying, he is strong, say, he is as strong as an ox. You do not need to memorize 1,000 of these. Just pick 5 common ones. Time is money. Life is a journey. Love is a battlefield. Using metaphors makes your English sound rich and poetic. It shows that you understand the imagery of the culture, not just the vocabulary. Let us look at Latin abbreviations. You might think, why are we talking about Latin? But English uses a few Latin abbreviations constantly, especially in writing and professional speech. You need to know etc., which means and so on. You need to know e.g., which means for example. You need to know i.e., which means that is, or in other words. And you need to know vice versa, which means the other way around. If you say, I like tea and coffee and vice versa, it means I like tea and coffee and tea. It is a shorthand way of speaking. Making a habit of using vice versa correctly makes you sound very intellectual. She helps him and vice versa. It is short, snappy, and professional. I want to talk about the AI conversation partner. We live in the future. You have access to artificial intelligence like ChatGPT or Gemini or others. Use them. Treat the AI as your practice partner. You can text with it or even speak with it if it has a voice mode. Tell the AI, I want to practice ordering coffee. You be the barista and I will be the customer. Or I want to practice a job interview. You be the boss. The AI will not judge you. It will not get tired. It will wait forever for you to type your answer. This is an incredible resource that costs nothing but your time. Make a habit of having a 5-minute chat with an AI every day about a different topic. Ask it to correct your grammar. Please correct my mistakes. It is the most patient teacher in the world. Let us discuss the filter. Sometimes learners get stuck because they try to say a very complex thought exactly as they would say it in their native language. But they do not have the vocabulary yet, so they freeze. You need to build a simplification filter. Before you speak, run your thought through the filter. Simplify it. If you want to say, I am experiencing a profound sense of melancholy due to the inclement weather, stop. Filter it. Simplify it. Say, I feel sad because it is raining. It means the same thing. Do not let your ambition to be poetic stop you from being communicative. As you get better, you can make the filter wider and let more complex words through. But for now, keep it simple and keep it moving. I want to talk about networking English. In business or social life, you need to make connections. There is a specific set of phrases for this. Let's keep in touch. Here is my card. I would love to pick your brain sometime. Pick your brain means to ask you questions and learn from you. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Do you have a card? Practice these phrases. Imagine you are at a conference. Walk up to a mirror, extend your hand, and say, Hi, I am Jessica. It is a pleasure to meet you. I would love to connect. The physical action of extending your hand, combined with the words, helps muscle memory. Let us look at micro-learning. You do not need an hour to learn. You have dead time all day, waiting for the microwave, waiting for the elevator, waiting for a website to load. These are 30-second windows. Fill them with English. Have a flashcard app on your main screen. Do one card, just one. Or have a podcast queued up. Listen for 30 seconds. These microdoses add up. If you do 10 micro sessions a day, that is 5 minutes. Over a year, that is 30 hours of extra study. It is about using the scraps of time that usually get thrown away. I want to discuss the art of refusal. Saying no is hard. Saying no in a foreign language is harder. You do not want to offend. We talked about softening, but let us talk about specific phrases for saying no. I am honored you asked, but I cannot. I wish I could, but I am fully booked. Maybe another time. I will have to take a rain check. Rain check is a great idiom. It comes from baseball, where if a game was canceled due to rain, you got a ticket for a later game. It means, I cannot do it now, but I would like to do it later. Use this when you want to say no to a specific date, but yes to the person. Let us talk about stream of consciousness writing. This is different from the daily journal. This is a speed exercise. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Take a piece of paper. Write in English without stopping. Do not lift your pen. Do not check spelling. Do not check grammar. Just let the words pour out of your brain. I am writing this because Jessica told me to, and I do not know what to say, but the table is brown and I am hungry. It clears the pipes. It gets the gunk out of your brain. It helps you bypass the internal editor that criticizes every mistake. When the timer stops, throw the paper away. It is not for reading, it is for flow. I want to address the imposter syndrome. This is the feeling that you are a fake. You think, I am not really an English speaker, I am just pretending. Everyone feels this. Even native speakers feel this. The cure is action. When you successfully order a meal, you are not an imposter. You did it. When you understand a joke, you are not an imposter. You laughed. Collect these pieces of evidence. Keep a success folder in your mind or on your phone. Screenshots of texts you sent correctly. Recordings of you speaking well. When you feel like a fake, look at your evidence. The evidence does not lie. Let us discuss dating and romance. This might not apply to everyone, but the vocabulary is very common in movies and songs. Ask someone out means to invite them on a date. Hit it off means to like each other immediately. Ghosting means to stop texting someone suddenly. Catfish means pretending to be someone else online. Even if you are happily married, knowing these terms helps you understand pop culture. Watch a romantic comedy and try to spot these phrases. It adds a fun layer to your learning. I want to talk about troubleshooting. What do you do when you have brain fog? Brain fog is when your mind feels thick and slow. You cannot remember simple words. This usually means you are tired or dehydrated or stressed. Do not force it. The habit here is strategic retreat. If you have brain fog, switch to passive listening. Put on some music. Do not try to speak. Drink a glass of water. Sleep. Your brain is a biological machine. It needs care. Do not beat yourself up for having a biological limit. Let us look at the power of lists. We love lists. Top 10 movies. 5 ways to cook eggs. 3 reasons to visit Spain. Making lists in English is a great habit. It is less pressure than writing a paragraph. Make a list of your favorite foods. Make a list of places you want to go. Make a list of adjectives that describe your mother. Lists help you organize vocabulary by category. It creates clusters of words in your brain, which makes them easier to find later. I want to discuss vague language. Sometimes you do not need to be specific. In fact, being vague can be very natural. Native speakers use words like stuff, things, kind of, sort of-ish. I will be there at 7-ish. That means around 7. Do you want some water or something? I have a lot of stuff to do. Using vague language appropriately makes you sound relaxed. If you are too precise all the time, you can sound like a robot. I will arrive at 7:00 sounds robotic. I'll be there 7-ish sounds human. Let us talk about the news diet. We talked about watching the news, but be careful. The news is often negative. If you only learn negative English, war, crime to disaster, you might start to associate English with bad feelings. Balance your diet. Find good news websites. Read about medical breakthroughs. Read about animals being saved. Read about space exploration. Fill your brain with positive English words like hope, progress, recovery, miracle. This keeps your motivation high. I want to address the comparison trap. Do not compare your English to a native speaker's English. That's unfair. They have been speaking it since they were babies. Compare your English today to your English last year. That is the only comparison that matters. Are you better than you were? Yes, then you are winning. If you compare yourself to others, you will feel bitter. If you compare yourself to your past, you will feel proud. Choose pride. Let us look at instructional English. This is the language of how-to. Read the manual for your new toaster in English. Read the instructions for assembling IKEA furniture in English. It is very specific imperative language. Insert screw A into hole B. Press and hold the button. It is practical and functional. It helps you understand commands and sequences. Finally, I want to talk about celebration. We often forget to celebrate. We focus on what we cannot do yet. I want you to make a habit of celebrating the small wins. Did you understand a whole song? Buy yourself a cookie. Did you have a 5-minute conversation? Do a little dance. Did you learn 5 new words? Tell a friend. Celebration releases dopamine in the brain. Dopamine makes you want to do it again. It creates a positive addiction to learning. Now we are going to talk about the future. We are going to talk about how to maintain this level forever, so you never lose what you have built. We are going to talk about how to integrate English into your identity so deeply that it becomes inseparable from who you are. And we are going to say goodbye, not as teacher and student, but as fellow English speakers. Let us start by talking about the concept of maintenance. Many people work hard to reach a high level and then they stop. They think, I am fluent now, I am done. But language is like a muscle. If you stop going to the gym, your muscles shrink. If you stop using English, your fluency will fade. It is called attrition. To prevent attrition, you need a maintenance routine. This is different from a study routine. You do not need to study for hours anymore. You just need to use the language. Make a rule for yourself. I will read one book in English every month. Or I will listen to one podcast every week. Or I will speak to my friend in English every Friday. This low-intensity, consistent contact keeps the neural pathways open. It is like watering a plant. You do not need to flood it, just give it a little water regularly, and it will stay green forever. Now let us talk about the plateau of bliss. We talked about the frustrating plateau before, but there is a good plateau too. This is when you are comfortable. You can watch movies without a headache. You can travel without fear. Enjoy this plateau. You worked hard for it. Do not feel guilty if you are not improving rapidly anymore. At the advanced level, improvement is very slow and subtle. It is about learning a slightly better word or understanding a slightly more complex joke. That is okay. You are in the enjoyment phase. Read books you love. Watch series you love. Let English be a source of pleasure, not just work. When you enjoy the language, you will never quit. I want to discuss the teacher mindset. The highest level of learning is teaching. You might not be a professional teacher, but you can be a mentor. Find someone who is just starting their journey, maybe a younger cousin or a colleague. Offer to help them. When you explain the difference between make and do, or when you explain why we say on the bus, but in the car you clarify it for yourself. You become a guardian of the language. It also gives you a sense of responsibility. You have to keep your English sharp so you can help them. It is a beautiful circle of giving and receiving. Let us look at cultural chameleon. You now have two souls. You have your native soul and your English soul. You can switch between them. When you are speaking your native language, you follow those cultural rules. When you speak English, you can adopt the English cultural traits. Maybe you become a bit more direct or a bit more polite, depending on the culture. This flexibility is a sign of high intelligence. It means you can see the world through two different pairs of glasses. Cherish this. It makes you more empathetic and more open-minded. You are a bridge between worlds. I want to talk about the lifetime bucket list. I want you to make a list of things you want to do in English before you die. Dream big. Read Shakespeare in the original text. Give a speech in English. Write a novel in English. Travel to every English-speaking country. Retire in an English-speaking village. Having these long-term dreams gives you a compass. It pulls you forward. It reminds you that English is not just a skill for today, it is a companion for life. Let us discuss deep work. In the modern world, we are distracted. To truly master the final 1% of English, you need deep focus. Once in a while, maybe twice a year, do a deep dive. Pick a very specific difficult topic. Maybe the history of the British monarchy, or quantum physics, or American poetry. Spend a weekend obsessing over it in English. Read everything, watch everything. This deep dive pushes your brain to its limit and expands your capacity. It keeps your brain young and agile. I want to address the fear of regression. You might worry, what if I forget? What if I lose it? Trust your brain. The brain is amazing. Even if you stop speaking for a year, the knowledge is still there deep down. It is just sleeping. It might take a few weeks to wake it up, but it will come back. Do not live in fear of losing it. Trust that you have built a permanent structure. It is like riding a bike. You might wobble after a long break, but you will never forget how to balance. Let us talk about your voice. You have found your voice in English. It might sound different from your native voice. Maybe it is deeper. Maybe it is higher. Maybe it is more serious. Maybe it is more playful. Accept this new voice. Love it. It is the voice of your effort. It is the voice of your courage. When you speak, listen to yourself with pride. This is me. I am speaking a language that was once strange noise to me, and now it is my own. That is a miracle. Never forget that it is a miracle. I want to suggest a final habit called the annual letter. Every year on the anniversary of starting this journey, write a letter to English. Yes, treat English like a person. Dear English, thank you for the adventures this year. Thank you for the movies I watched. Thank you for the friends I made. I am sorry I neglected you in November. I promise to be better next year. This gratitude practice strengthens your relationship with the language. It makes it personal. Let us synthesize everything we have learned. We learned about habit stacking, attaching English to coffee. We learned about narrating the day becoming the voiceover of our lives. We learned about shadowing to find the rhythm. We learned about the 2-minute rule to defeat procrastination. We learned about softening to be polite. We learned about the elevator pitch to be professional. We learned about the flow state to be natural. And we learned about grit to be unstoppable. These are not just tips. They are the bricks of your house. You have built a mansion. Now live in it. I want to leave you with a story. There was a man who wanted to move a mountain. Everyone told him it was impossible. You are just one man, they said. The mountain is too big. The man did not listen. Every morning he woke up and moved one stone, just one. He put it in a basket and carried it away. Years passed. The pile of stones he moved became a hill. The mountain became smaller. People stopped laughing and started watching. Eventually, the mountain was gone. You are that man. English was your mountain. The daily habits were your stones. You have moved the mountain stone by stone. You have done the impossible. So what now? What is the next step? The next step is simply to live. Go out into the world and use your English. Order that coffee. Send that email. Make that friend. Read that book. Do not wait for permission. You have permission. You earned it. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me be your guide. It has been the privilege of my life to talk to you through these extensive episodes. I hope my voice has been a friend to you. I hope my words have given you strength. Remember, you are never alone on this journey. There are millions of learners just like you, and I am always here cheering for you. Please subscribe to the channel English in Advance. We will continue to create content for you, but you have graduated from this course. You are now an alumni. Wear that badge with honor. Leave a comment below and tell me your story. Tell me where you started and where you are now. I read them all and they mean the world to me. This is Jessica signing off from the Daily English Habits series. Go be great. Go be fluent. Go be you. Goodbye and good luck.